ਸੂਚੋ ਸੂਚਾ ਸੂਚੋ ਸੂਚਾ ਅੰਤ ਨਾ ਅੰਤਾ ਸਦਾ ਬੇਅੰਤਾ ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਊਚੋ ਊਚਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪਾਵਨ ਪਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ, today's Hukamnama Sahib from Sachkhand, Sri Harmandir Sahib, is on Ang 821 in Bilaaval Raag by Guru Arjun Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji. Guru Arjun Dev Ji Paat Ji start off with the Mangla Charan of Ek Oankar Satgur Prasad. That Mangla Charan telling us, Sangat Ji, that one Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji can only be obtained by the grace, by the kirpa of the Satguru, of that, by the Guru of the truth. Sangat Ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji say to us today, Satgur Shabad Ujaro Deepa. Sangat Ji, Satgur. They're saying here, Paatshah is saying that Shabad, the Guru Shabad, that Satguru Shabad. Satgur Sangat Ji, just like in the Mangla Charan, Satgur Ji ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ, that one is called a Satgur. Sangat Ji, because there's a huge difference in a Satgur and somebody just being a mere Guru. Sangat Ji, there's many people that are called a Guru. And Sangat Ji, a Guru could be somebody that is very learned of a particular instrument. A Guru could be, Sangat Ji, that someone that is very learned of certain scriptures. And that one is then referred to as a Guru. Just like Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah say to us, they says, Gur Sikhan Kan Chadaiyan. They say that Gur Sikhan Kan Chadaiyan. There's those type of Gurus as well that give that Sikhya, they give their teaching to their disciple in their ear. The Gurus Sikhan, the teachings, Gur Sikhan Kan, within their ear, they whisper that teaching into their ear, Gur Sikhan Kan Chadaiyan, Gur Brahman Thiya. They're saying, but who is this that the world is calling a Guru? He's actually a Brahman, somebody that is learned within the Vedas. Sangat Ji, so there's Gurus out there that are learned people. It could be even in religious scriptures. They know the religious scriptures very well. Intellectually, they know them. They understand them on a mind level. But Sangat Ji, a Satgur is that one, the one that the Guru of the truth. Here, Sangat Ji, the Tatta's got a Sihari, meaning Satya. Satya means that one that has always existed and is and always will be. That one that jinno koi bhi nash nahi kar sakda. That one that cannot be destroyed. That one that will never die. So na oho mare na hove sog. That one that will never die. Sangat Ji, a Satgur is that one that is one with that creator, one with that one. And Sangat Ji, a Satgur has the ability to actually take our arm and to unite us with that one. Sangat Ji, that's the difference between just a mere Guru that is learned of something, but then you got a Satgur, that one that has realized the truth and that can take our arm and help us to realize the truth. Satgur Shabad, Shabad Sangat Ji here, the Dadda again has got Sihari, means Shabad de Rahi, means through the Shabad, through the Guru's teachings. What does the teachings of a Satguru do for us? Satguru Shabad, through their teachings, Ujaro Deepa. Ujaro Sangat Ji means when something lights up, jithe ujalan ho janda ya. Sangat Ji, and then they say that Deepa Sangat Ji means light. The Sat, through the Guru's teachings, what will happen to us? That there'll be something that will light up inside of us. There'll be a diva, there'll be a light inside of us. So Sangat Ji, that lamp will light up inside of us. Which lamp? Sadhguru Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji tell us about which lamp. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah say, there's sab meh jyot. They said there's that jyot inside of you, there's that light inside of you. Sangat Ji, but let us not get this confused, because often we start to actually picture, because the way our mind, Sangat Ji, works, our mind works in this way, that when we say light, when we say jot, especially when we say jot, that diva, Sangaji, so that lamp. So what our mind will do is it'll go to a candle, it'll go to a diva, it'll go to that lamp, that oil lit lamp, and then we obviously use ke, and then we'll start thinking of an actual physical light. So we think that the Waheguruji's Atma, that soul inside of us, is actually like a light. No, Sangatji. Remember, that Atma that Satguruji Pachi is talking about, that Sab Meh, that everyone has that light inside of us, it's got no actual physical form. So it's not like that. All it is, Satguruji's using the attributes from that physical light. Sab Meh Jot, Jot hai soy, everyone has that Jot inside of them, the light of God inside of them. Sab Meh Jot. And then Pachin Sab Meh Jot, Jot, whose light is it? Jot hai soy. Soy means of Waheguruji. Jot hai soy. And then what happened? Tiste chanan, Sab Meh chanan hoye. That light is reflecting upon everyone. It doesn't discriminate. That light of God reflects on everyone. Sab Meh chanan hoye. Then how do we access that light of God inside of us? Gur Sakhi, Jot, Pargat hoye. Jot, Sangaji, and Deepa is the same thing. It's saying that light inside of us, how can we come to realize it of God? Gur Sakhi, Jot Pargat hoye. Pargat means it will come forward. Even though it's inside of us now, for us, it's not there until we don't realize it. Just like Sangatji, we might have something that is very precious sitting in our own pocket. We've got something in our pocket, but we're looking for it everywhere else. And we don't realize that that thing that we're all looking for, we all need, that bliss, that anand that we're all searching for. Anand, Sangatji, is that avastha. Anand is that state. Waheguruji themselves is anand. Waheguruji, Sangatji, is agade, abade, anandi, surupe. The form of Waheguruji is of anand. Agade, abade, anandi, surupe. Anand means, Sangatji, that bliss that cannot be taken away from us no matter what happens. It doesn't matter whether somebody is born, it can't get any higher, because we're at the most ultimate place that we could ever be, bliss. It's not just like that happiness that comes and goes. Bliss is that thing, Sangaji, that no matter if somebody dies, that bliss that still cannot be taken away from us, because Waheguruji is that form. And when we realize that form inside of us, and we become that form inside of us, then nothing can take us away from Anand, from bliss, Sangatji. So Gur Sakhi Jot Pargat hoye, through the Guru's teachings, we actually get to realize that Jot inside of us. Satgur Shabad Ujaro Deepa. And then Sangatji, Satgurji Pachi goes further to say to us that Binasyo Andkar, Binasyo, what will happen when we have realization of that light inside of Waheguruji? Binasyo, something will be eradicated, will be removed away from us. Andkar, darkness. That darkness of ignorance will be taken away from us. Living under ego, living under home, that I am, being self-involved and not seeing actually what I am. Andkar, where is that? Where will it be taken away from? Tehe Mandar. Mandar, Sangatji, means, can be translated to a mansion. Mandar over here will translate to our home. But which home? The home of our heart. The home, not Sangatji, the organ heart, but the core of our being, inside us. Sangatji, that andhakar, the ignorance, is inside. The bliss is inside. Waheguruji is inside. That way to connect to Waheguruji, that naam, is inside. Everything is inside our home. Not Sangatji, the homes that we live in, but the home of ourself. When we go deep inside, everything is in that home. They're saying, that Ratan Kothadi Khuli Anupa. What will we access then inside of us? That Ratan, that true jewel, Sangatji, the jewel of Naam, Sangatji, the jewel of Naam, the jewel of Waheguruji's qualities, the Ratans. So just like Path says, Mat vich ratan jawahar manik je ek gur ki sikh suni. See how these all relate? It says Satguru Shabad, Gursakhi Jot Pragat hoye, Mat vich ratan jawahar manik. Path is saying all these different jewels, mat vich, within our own self, within the home of our self, mat vich. What will happen? Ratan. Ratan means the qualities of Vaheguru. Ratan Jawahar Manik. Je ek gur ki sikh suni. If we attach ourselves to the Guru's Sikhi, to the Guru's Sikhya. Which Sikhya? Ek Sikhya. One Sikhya. Over here, Sangaji, one doesn't mean just one teaching. It means one as in the whole, as in all the complete teaching of the Guru. That one overall Sikhya of Guru Sahib Ji's message. And what is that? Is of Naam. Everything we can access inside, Kothadi Sangat Ji means we can translate to home. And then Kuli Anupa will get access, Kuli Anupa, to that one that cannot be, is incomparable. That Vaheguru Ji that sits inside of us, that is incomparable, Sangat Ji. So, this whole thing about everything is inside. Satguru Ji tells us many times through Gurbani. They say to us, Sab kich ghar mein. This says that everything is at home. Sab kich ghar mein. This is bahar nahi. It's not outside, Satguru Ji saying. Sab kich ghar mein, bahar nahi. This is but bahar tolle. But if you start searching for it outside, bahar tolle, so param pulahi. This is you'll just be lost in param, in doubt, and pulahi. You'll be completely lost looking for it from outside because everything is inside. Let's look at this a little bit practically, Sangat Ji. Whatever we are seeing, whatever we see with these eyes, Sangat Ji, we're actually seeing it inside of us. Whatever we're hearing with these ears, we hear it inside of us. Nothing's happening outside, is it? Somebody's experiencing an emotion. For somebody saying that, you know what? That I've just feel like there's everything's filled with love. Somebody might say, somebody's just gone through a really amazing experience. They found someone. They found the perfect person in their life. And for them, it's spring all the time. It's not just like it is now, how the sun is shining and everything's starting to blossom. For them, everything is blossoming. For them, they'll say to somebody else, they say, can you feel it? Can you feel that love in the air? And Sangat Ji, we all know that it's not, love isn't in the air, love is inside of them. Everything somebody's experiencing is inside of them. That emotion is inside. Because Sangat Ji, even if it is the season of spring, everything is shining, everything is blossoming, the sun's out, and one person, Sangat Ji, is saying that, look how beautiful everything is. Look how the sun's shining. Look how listen to the birds singing. It's just, it wells my mind up with this emotion of love when I hear the birds singing in the morning. Sangat Ji, it's not, that emotion isn't outside anywhere. Everything is being experienced inside. Because that there's another person that you're expressing this to. But Sangat Ji, they might be going through a time of sorrow. Where is that sorrow? That sorrow isn't in the air. For them, everything outside is happening the same. But they might be experiencing an emotion of depression where they feel very low and they feel they can't get out of that low. The moment the birds start singing to them, you try and say to them, can you feel the love in the air? They'll say, what love? They may have just lost a partner. They might have just lost someone to death. Sangat Ji, somebody very precious to them might have died. Their relationship may have just have become broken. Their partner may have just left them. Their partner might have been cheating on them. The other person's just united with someone and they can feel love in the air. That the birds singing is the most beautiful thing to them ever. But the other person, Sangat Ji, Sab kich kar mein, because all the experiences are inside of us. So what's happening to them, Sangat Ji? They are saying, the birds are saying, I can't stand it when the birds start singing in the morning. It frustrates me because I think of how I would have enjoyed them if my partner was still with me that I have lost. That I don't want to get up and hear the birds singing because it reminds me of I need to start my day and I have to battle with my thoughts again. Because everything is inside. The love isn't in the air anywhere. The love is inside. To that person, the sun is shining, but they're thinking, why does the sun have to shine today? I haven't got my partner with me to enjoy this sun. I would have rather have had it that it was cold. You ask them if love is in the air. No, it's what's inside. That's what they're experiencing. They've got sorrow inside, and that's what their experience of life is. It's all inside of us, Sangat Ji. So when somebody experiences a moment of anand, a moment of bliss, Sangat Ji, let's think about this now. When somebody's going through some anand, when somebody's going through some bliss, let's think of that moment in Kirtan. If we've all sat down in Sangat, in congregation, and Sangat Ji, and the Kirtan for us is static, is blowing our minds away. So there's somebody else sitting in that same Sangat, somebody else that is sitting and listening to the same Kirtan. The vibration is the same level. It is what it is in the air. Sangat Ji, for one person, their mind has been blown. Another person is sitting in that Sangat and they're thinking, this just isn't doing it for me. I'm not connecting. Because that is inside. Sangat Ji, from inside, they're not able to make that connection. But one person, but what I want to focus and concentrate on, Sangat Ji, everything, all our experiences are inside of us. So if all our experiences are inside of us, if we feel sorrow, it's inside of us. But when we feel happiness, it's inside of us. Sangat Ji, we feel love, it's inside of us. Sangat Ji, and we are all looking for bliss. We are all looking for anand, that avastha, that state where we experience the light of Vaheguruji inside, and then we're in constant anand. That's what we're looking for. Even that is inside of us. Sangat Ji, there's times where we've had little snippets of it. We've been sitting in Kirtan and we've forgotten everything. And in that moment, Sangat Ji, there's no time. You've gone to that place. Now you're not trying to understand the Mool Mantar. You're not trying to understand that Akal Murat. You're not trying to understand that Vaheguruji is beyond time, because now there's something that from the outside has been happening. That Kirtan has hit, the praises of Vaheguruji have hit the right note inside of us, but it's inside of us that something's been hit. All it is something, there was a light from outside, a little spark from outside, the Guru's path, the Guru's way, the Guru's Shabad sparked it, but everything's inside. That what we accessed, then that ananda, that light inside of us. That part is saying Satguru Shabad Ujaro Deepa. Ujaro, it came forward. We experienced that light inside of us, and it could have been through Kirtan. That's one way, one example. And then we've experienced now Akal Murat. There's no time for us. In that moment, somebody tries to speak to us, but there's nothing, we can't respond. If they ask us, how long have you been sitting here? You don't know, because you've gone to Akal now. You experience the light, and the image of that light inside is Akal, is beyond time. So now that 5 hours, 8 hours could feel like you don't even know. It feels like nothing for you. And then, Sangat Ji, that anand you've experienced from inside, in that moment, you don't know of your body. Your body could be diseased. You could be full, your knees could be paining you on a normal day to day in your life. But in that moment, you've gone beyond even your body. You have no connection to the pains, to anything. You don't even know if you're diseased. You've gone beyond even the sarir, that physical, because now you've connected to the essence, to the light, Sangat Ji. And I'm using this example because I'm sure many listening to this may have experienced that. So you're experiencing a kal. You're experiencing a place where there's no pain, where there's no suffering. Tithe ung na pok hai. Pachi saying where there's no ung, where you're not falling asleep now. Sometimes when we're trying to focus and we keep falling asleep, but over here Pachi saying tithe ung na pok. Ung means when we start nodding off like this, Sangat ji. He's saying, but Pachi ji saying, but now that Gurmukh, through their Guru Gurmukh antar sahaj hai, they've reached now that place of sahaj, that place of Vaheguru ji, where it's just completely, everything is just balanced, everything is just that steady, it's immovable, there's no movement. Paach saying that Gurmukh antar sahaj hai man chadya dasve akash, because in that moment, where have I gone? I've gone into that 10th sky, that into the dasam dwar. That dwar, that door, that accesses to meet Vaheguru ji. Man chadya dasve akash tithe ung. There's no falling asleep there now. In complete awareness, in alertness, tithe ung. Ung as well. We can't fall asleep to Maya. There's nothing at that point that can lure us. Tithe ung na pok hai. There's no hunger. We won't know if this body needs food or not. It doesn't matter. If you stay in that state for hours, we won't feel the hunger of the body, and we won't have any hungers of any desires for anything as well in this world. Then Paach says, Har Amrit Naam Sukhvas, because we've connected to that Amrit, that nectar of Naam, of the ability to connect to Vaheguru ji that is sitting inside of us. It takes something from outside to spark it. We need the Guru. First, the Panj Pyare give us the Gur Mantar, they give us from outside. And then the Gur Mantar, they instill it inside of us. As they're saying, Vaheguru, 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 that mantra goes inside of us. And then Sangat ji, we practice it inside of ourselves. When we practice it inside of ourselves, Sangat ji, the truth is, those of you that have had that experience, it becomes difficult to even then connect to anything physical, to come out of it. That's why we have Gurbani to keep the balance. We've got Bani and we've got Naam. Because Bani, Sangat ji, will help us to keep connected to how to live this physical life as well. That's why we need both. We've got Bani, we need the two wings of Gurbani and of Naam. Because Naam, Sangat ji, is such a great ras, such a beautiful nectar inside of us. When that Naam, that Gur Mantra starts to beat inside of us, starts to beat in our hirda, in our heart, Sangat ji, we don't want to come out of it. That Ras Anand, where is it? It's inside. It's nowhere but inside, Sangat ji. That bliss we're all looking for is inside. So where do we need to go? Is inside. Why are we not able to access it? Why is it that we're not getting to experience that Anand? Because we're looking for it in the wrong place. Pataji say to us, they say that Ghar hi meh amrit bharpoor hai, man mukha saad na paya. This is in the home, there's that word again, home, in the home of ourself. Ghar hi meh amrit bharpoor hai, the amrit nectar inside, meaning that sweetest Anand bliss is inside of us. Remember, we proved it now. Nothing comes from outside, because the outside is the same. The sun is shining shining the same for everyone. Sorry, muddling up my words. The sun is shining the same for everyone. Sab meh channa hue. Sangat ji, doesn't matter. But depending on where we are inside will be our experience. One person's lost someone, they're in sorrow from inside. One person's just in this amazing relationship and the sun is beautiful for them. The birds are beautiful for them. So we know now, from that example, we know 100% all our experiences are inside, not from outside, Sangat ji. So Ghar hi meh amrit bharpoor hai, that amrit, that Anand that we are looking for is inside of us. Ghar hi mein amrit bharpoor hai, it's overflowing inside of us. Ghar hi mein amrit bharpoor hai, but man mukha saad na paya. But the man mukhs, those that are following their mere mind and not the Guru to go inside, Sangat ji, and they don't get to taste it. The man mukhs, The ones that are self-involved, following the mind, they don't get to experience it. Paasi jiyo kasturi mirg na jane. This is just like jiyo kasturi mirg na jane param da param pulaya. Pachi saying just like that jiyo kasturi mirg. Mirg Sangaji is this over here. Mirg means deer. But Pacha ji over here is telling us about which mirg, which deer. It's called the musk deer. Sangaji, all the perfume originally, going back, if we go back hundreds of years ago, even about 100 years ago, all the perfume, the fragrance that somebody adorned themselves with came from the musk deer. Sangaji, from that musk deer is a deer that has this gland, this pouch, that has this scent called musk in there, that's been named musk. It gives off this beautiful fragrance, Sangatji, and it's said to be the most expensive animal product that anyone can get their hands on. And today, in most places now, it's become illegal because that musk deer became the most endangered animal because it was being hunted and killed so much for that scent, for that fragrance, Sangatji. So now, in most places, it's actually illegal to hunt that. Now, most scents that are called musk is actually all synthetic. It's not the real thing, Sangaji. And it's said to be the most beautiful scent that would come. And then what would the deer do? The deer, Sangaji, would chase and look for that scent everywhere. Jo kasturi mirg na jane. Kasturi means the musk. Jo kasturi mirg na jane. The mirg, the deer doesn't know. Sangaji, we've got that anand sitting inside of us. Those of you that have had that little experience where you've gone beyond time, beyond the pains of your body, it's connected inside, something's exploding inside, bursting inside of you with ecstasy, Sangaji. Then that experience has happened inside, and then that's what we're actually after. But like that deer, we're running around everywhere. It's saying, where is it? Where is it? And Sangaji, it goes, they say it travels every day, miles running for it. It goes up to trees trying to smell it. And then in frustration, it says then that deer, what it does is it rubs up the gland. It doesn't even know. The gland is in the lower part of that deer. And that deer then rubs itself against the edge of mountains. And what does that deer end up doing? Ends up wasting, rubbing that musk gland off the pouch. It rubs it off against the mountain and loses some of the fragrance. And then there's times it loses it completely, and it takes up to 2 years for it to grow back, for it to have that scent again. And Sangatji, that anand, sometimes we lose it as well, because we end up doing really silly things in life. We end up trying to get that fragrance from trying to satisfy that inside void, whether that be through sexual experiences, whether that be through different types of people end up doing all sorts, chasing for wealth. And if we end up doing sinful acts, it'll dry us out. And just like that deer then can't smell it anymore. In that way, we feel dry inside. Everything just feels off. Sangaji, what is it how are we running around like that deer? We're trying to get it from different things. I've said this before many times. There's nothing wrong in enjoying delicious foods. But if we think that it's going to give us that eternal bliss, if we think it's going to give us what we're actually looking for is that amrita, that bliss inside, that's when we're fooled. Because we know that it doesn't remain and it does not last. That experience doesn't last. Why do we end up in such stupid situations in our life? Why do we end up chasing wealth, chasing status, chasing all these things? It's because we want that kasturi, we want that musk, that fragrance that is inside of us. We want that exploding anand. That's why, Sangaji, there was somebody that I knew from Sangat. I didn't personally know him. Somebody I knew of. this is probably going back about 13, 14 years, Sangat Ji. He was a very wealthy businessman. He had everything. And he was very connected, read a lot of Gurbani. But he knew that he was after that explosion, that ecstasy of Nand from inside. And he just couldn't access it, he couldn't get to it. And in these early days, he was just growing his business, kept growing it, and felt like, if he gets to a certain point, then he'll reach that bliss. But no, it didn't happen, Sangat Ji. So eventually, what he did was, he started to meditate more and more. Through the Guru Shabad, that something started to light up inside. You know how he said everything is inside? So this example I'm going to use is quite extreme, and we don't need to do this, but it's just to show us something, for us to realize something. He eventually gave all his wealth and business to his sons. He then just lived in a house on his own. I'm not sure if his wife had passed away, but he lived in a small terraced house, and his sons had all the wealth. And that house was more or less empty, didn't really have any furniture, just enough food to get by, and just a little painting, as you could see some of it behind you, like this, of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji. He just had that, and he reached the most extreme level of that Anand, the bliss inside. He just had enough food to get by, no furniture, more or less an empty house, but he found the beauty inside. He was like that deer running around first, like I am, from still running around, and doing his darshan, during his last, they used to call him Bhagat Ji. During his last few years, I remember doing his darshan. He'd be in so much anand, so much bliss. Very simple man, long beard, he'd have a loi, like a shawl wrapped around him. And even when the Diwan was over at 9 o'clock in the evening, he would be in that place of Akal, in so much bliss inside. Remember, human form is the only form you can experience that. He'd be sat there sometimes till 11, 12 o'clock at night. And everybody else would have gone. And there'd be times he'd be sat there throughout the night. Sangat Ji, it doesn't mean that we've got to lose all our consciousness and we've got to go into that samadhi. And that's not our aim. The aim of what I'm bringing forward here, it's not about being able to sit 8 hours, and then it doesn't mean that we turn our back on our life duties. What this is all about is, he had it all. Where did he find the Anand, the bliss? He found it inside. Not from the cars, not from the wealth. It's everything's got to be inside. What's the best time for us to access it? Bhakt Farid Ji tell us when we can access that musk that is inside of us. This is Raat Kathuri Vandiye. This is when is it given out, that musk? Inside, that Amrit, when is it more accessible? So meaning it's given out, when is it more accessible? In the Raat, in the fourth section of the night, Sangat Ji, which is Amrit Vela, which is, we could say, approximately anything from about 2 till about 6 in the morning. But it's better to be well before 6. So a very good time is between about 3 and 5, when everything else is silent, when the sun isn't out yet. So there's a different vibration inside of us, because once the sun is out, then there's a different vibration inside of us. There's a different drive inside of us. But Raat Kathuri Vandiye Sutya Milena Pao. But Bhagat Farid Ji says, if you're asleep, you've missed out. Sorry, mate. You can't access. It doesn't mean you can't. It means, but that's the time where it's bubbling inside of us, where it's most likely for us to be able to access it, that bliss we're looking for. So this is Raat Kathuri Vandiye Sutya Milena Pao. Jina Nan Nindravale tina milan kawao. This is jina nain. But those that have got sleep inside of their eyes, this is tina milan kawao. How are you going to get to access that musk? So Sangat Ji, this is all about going inside and connecting through the Guru's teachings. The Guru's teachings are obviously to practice the truth, not to lie. All of these things are the Guru's teachings, the various things. And that will help us to contain our wandering mind when we're not lying, when we're not slandering. So that's the Guru's teachings. But then we need the Guru's mantra, Naam, to access that Anand inside of us. And the Anand is Vaheguru Ji. The Anand is Vaheguru Ji. Sangat Ji, and that's what will then keep us in Sahaj. We'll be in Sahaj because we've got the most precious fragrance. Then it doesn't matter. If somebody dies, we're still cruising. If somebody's born, we're still cruising. Nothing can take us away then. We're completely stable. So, Sangat Ji, Pacha Ji saying here, Rahao, ete bisram lake, can they contemplate this? Bisman bisam pe jo pekyo, says when I pekyo, when I see Vaheguru Ji inside of me, bisam, I'm just in awe, I'm just wonderstruck. There's no words that, just like Kabiji say, that it's just like jaise gunge ki mithiyai. Ki kave, it's just like that mute eating that sweet. What is that mute meant to say? It can't say anything. It's just an experience. It's just this feeling of being in awe from inside. Bisman bisam pe jo pekyo kehna jai vadiyai. The greatness of that experience of being in Anand, of being in bliss, of being with Vaheguru Ji cannot be said. Magan pe, magan means when you're drowning in something. Magan pe uha sang mate. When you're with Vaheguru Ji, it's like drowning in this mate, in this intoxication. You become intoxicated, drowned in Anand. Ot pot lapatai, ot pot through and through. Inside, everywhere. Now lapatai, we're completely absorbed in this Anand, in this bliss of Vaheguru Ji. Al jal nahi kachu janjara, then nothing. All means, the word comes from, it means home, from the word Allah. Allah keh dende ne oh chidiyan da Allah banaya, the nest means home. Al jal means Sangat Ji, all that jala. Sangat Ji, jala, what is jala? Jala is Sangat Ji a cage that we get trapped in. This is the cage. There is no cage for us anymore that we get trapped in of these household duties. Sangat Ji, we're doing them, but we're detached from them. Al jal nahi kachu janjara. There is no janjara for us. There is no net for us. That's the word I'm looking for. Janjara means net. There is no net for us that we're stuck in and we can't get out of. We're free now. Ang buddha nahi pura. Why? Because there's not even a little ayata worth of Aham Buddha left. There's no home left. Once we have Vaheguru Ji, once we experience Ananda, there's no home, there's no me, there's no I am. We have these identities, we use them, we're now in control of them. So this is, I take on now my identity role of being a pracharak to deliver. I take on now my identity as being a mother and I now deliver. I take on my identity as being female and I do this job. Where we know we are not that now. We're in Anand. We just use them as and when we need. We're in control. We're completely conscious. It's not consumed us anymore. There's no Aham Buddha left. Sangat Ji, Uchan Ucha Beach na Kicha Sache Pachi saying here. That experience is Uchan Ucha of Vaheguru Ji is the greatest of all. We can't even comprehend how great that experience of Vaheguru Ji is. Beach na Kicha Sangat Ji. There's now nothing beach, there's nothing in between. Kicha means when we draw something, there's no in between us what? The veil. There's no curtain in between us of home anymore. So there's nothing drawn, the curtain's open. Now everything is, Sangat Ji is just Vaheguru Ji. Haun tera, tu mera, I am now yours. I am your disciple, tu mora, and you are my master. How is it that I'm your disciple? I've realized I'm a little light and that light is spread everywhere. Now this light serves all the other lights. Ekankar, ek pasara. And then I realized that Ekankar, that one Vaheguru Ji, is pasara, that is spread out everywhere. Eke apar apara, it is that one Vaheguru Ji that is limitless. The apar apara, the ek basthiran, ek sampuran, Sangaji, that one ek Vaheguru Ji is immersed everywhere. Sampuran, absolutely everywhere is immersed. That one Vaheguru Ji, Eke Pran Adhara, that one Vaheguru Ji is the support of my breath. Nirmal, Nirmal, Sucha, Sucho. Now, once I've met Vaheguru Ji, then I've become absolutely immaculate and pure. Nirmal, Nirmal, Sucha, Sucho. Everything about me has become sucha. Everything about me has become pure now. My mind, my thoughts have become pure. What I speak has become pure. What I do now has become pure. Antana Anta, there is no limit to that Vaheguru Ji. Sada Beyanta, that Vaheguru Ji is limitless. So we know now there is no limit to the real self, to what I actually am, to that Jot Kaho Nanak Ucho Ucha, that Vaheguru Ji is the greatest of all Sangat Ji. So, itni ka benti hai Pravan Sangat Ji. So, the takeaway message from this Hukamnama Sangat Ji, that this house, this is the true home, is inside of us. Our experiences are inside. The Ananda, the bliss that we are looking for is inside, and we're looking for it in the wrong places. There's nothing wrong with having nice, convenient, beautiful things, but to think that they're going to give us Anand, that eternal bliss, then we're mistaken. How do we go inside? We go inside and realize that light through the Guru's teachings. So one, then following, restraining ourselves from things like slander, which will help our mind to become contained. Once the mind is contained, and then hand in hand with the Guru's mantra is Vaheguru Gur mantra hai jap home khoi. Vaheguru Gur Shabad sunaya. That Vaheguru Ji, Vaheguru Gur Shabad sunaya. Bhai Gurdas Ji says that Shabad that was given to us by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And when's the best time to practice that Shabad? Raat Gathuri. It's during the early hours of the morning. And it's not to say that it can't work at any other time, but that's when we're more likely to connect to the Anand inside that we are all looking for. So Sangat Ji, everything is inside. Let's connect to the inside. Let's become love. Let's become compassion. And let's get to that Anand, which is the goal of this human life, is to find that. And once the Anand is found, then the cycle of birth and death will come to an end. Aao, balaiye fateh. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki fateh. Kar sukh vasya, bahar sukh paya. Kar sukh vasya.